I'm starting to like recording the intro at the end of the episode so I can tell you exactly what's coming up. So, what's coming up? Well, our progress is really starting to ramp up. In this episode, make a bunch of steam multiblocks that help us with mass processing. I fix some steam issues, and we make a massive step towards getting into MV. Let's get gregging! Okay, so here we have an aerial view of the steam yard. To the bottom we have the steam grinder, the steam hearth and the steam fuser. To the north a bit I've mapped out where I think I'll place the steam presser, steam separator and steam purifier. And over here we'll have the steam blender and steam squasher. I'll run a water pipe to the washer and mixer, probably just taken from this tank, but I'll keep an eye on the water level in the tank as its first job is keeping the boiler moist. And if it runs out, I will have a really bad day. All processing is clustered down here, which would make it very easy to move the various products between the machines as needed. It's definitely possible to set up some automatic processing and filtering at this stage of the game, but it's a lot of work and resources to get it functional, and for now I'll just move containers around with dollies. If that gets very annoying before I have a better bulk processing solution, I'll see if I can figure out a routing and filtering system for it then. Alright, so I'm going to start building out these multi-blocks with the mixer. The reason for that is I haven't been able to find any brick dungeons, but bricks are actually quite a lot easier to make than they were in the Stone Age. We can now do it in the alloy smelter. This is a 10-second recipe, but if we can do 8 at once in the multi-block alloy smelter, that's not so bad. Making clay, there's not too much around here, but there is a lot of clay dust, and if we get the mixer recipe up, we can make clay balls quite easily from clay dust and water. So let's get on with that one first of all. I'm going to be making a lot of multi-blocks, so I thought I'd try making a schematic and see if it makes building them a bit easier. Oh, I'll just sleep real quick. Let's just check the structure for this. So it's 1 up. Alright, now let's see if this works. Woo! It sort of worked. Alright, back in a second. I'll build the rest of it out by hand. Welcome back everyone. I wanted to bring you back as we're building out these steam multis. We've nearly got everything built out now except for the centrifuge. I did the mixer first and then the compressor because these really helped get these bricks made up. The block I need the most of is bricks at the centre of it. And something I thought would be interesting to talk about right now is this washer, the steam purifier, is the first machine that's actually really taxing and showing that this steam setup that we've got at the moment is kind of noddy right now, is not good enough. So the first thing I noticed was it absolutely needs a large bronze pipe. A regular bronze pipe does not feed it enough. This is in ore washing mode rather than simple washing mode. I have it processing some mica just to get a little bit of extra bonus mica for reasons. And really just to sort of stress test the system. It was something that would be somewhat useful. And I knew it was going to use a lot of steam power, and I just wanted to see how things performed. So good news, water is rock solid, it's not a problem at all. Same cannot be said of steam. This is dropping like a stone. And if I go over to my boiler, it's kind of interesting. For some reason the boiler's only half full, but it never drops below half full, so the steam boiler's production is keeping up with what's coming out of it, but the level in the tank is dropping, so we're using more than we're producing and more that's coming through here. So what I want to do, or what I'm going to do, is upgrade this to potent pipe. That'll increase our throughput to the tank. At that point I'm pretty sure we'll see this steam production will not keep up with the demands of the machines, and we'll need to upgrade the boiler as well. And from there we may need to update creosote production, but we will see at that point. For upgrading the boiler, I've got a couple of options. I can increase its footprint to make it bigger, or I can upgrade to a high pressure boiler. I had a low pressure boiler to start with because the creosote production was inconsistent, and so getting it back up from cold was much faster. But now we've got a constant supply of creosote coming in. A high pressure boiler which has a steel casing rather than an iron casing on top will be better, and that will produce more steam for us. And it might just be replacing this 2x2 tank section at the top with a high pressure 2x2 tank section at the top. Might be enough for us, but we'll see. I'll bring you back when that happens. I don't know if this is new, but it's very cool. Super handy. Boop, boop. That's so good. Okay, that's the boiler upgraded. Let's see if that will now keep up with the steam requirement. Okay, so the high pressure boiler seems to be holding its own while we've got the oil washer running. And that's now all of the multi-blocks in place, which will help us out a lot as we scale up our processing. So I think I spoke too soon about everything keeping up. It looks like we're losing about half a bucket of creosote per burn cycle on the boiler. That's not too hard to fix. I will just pop a few more coke ovens in place. That should do the trick. Okay, great. So it looks like we are very slowly starting to build up an excess of creosote again. All I did was just add an extra 4 coke ovens here. Okay, it's the next day since I was last looking at this, and this was running overnight, and what I noticed was that this was completely empty, but this was still at full temperature. So basically this was the amount of coke ovens we had was just enough to break even rather than build up a backlog. Because our light fuel production relies on creosote, I wasn't very happy with that sort of being right on the knife edge like that. We're going to need quite a lot of that light fuel, and I don't want to suddenly find that we can't produce the light fuel to run our machines just because we don't have enough creosote. So I put in another 4 coke ovens, and now we're backlogging in a much more convincing way, and I'm much happier about that. Alright, well, it's high time we made some more progress in LV, and in fact start to move towards MV. This quest here is our roadblock at the moment. We need to get more aluminium. Now I could run around in the Twilight Forest and kill the little blue dudes and they drop aluminium. That's how I got the plate that I needed for my backpack. But what we really need to do to make this progression is make the electric blast furnace. Now this needs 2 alloys. It needs Invar and it needs cupronickel, both of which need a lot of nickel. So right now I'm crushing up a bunch of garnierite and other bits of a nickel vein from the Twilight. Looking at the processing of this, if I bring that up, there we go. So if I was to sort of run it through the washer and a centrifuge, I would get a little bit more nickel, but this is so plentiful, I'm just going to cook it up. Cupronickel coil blocks, and that's a bit of a process. To start off, I need this rubber dust and some of that mica I was processing earlier. And circuit 2, I think. Go. For some reason these recipes take ages to start up. I thought this wasn't running. The next step, I need some asbestos dust. Yummy. I might have some in my dust storage, otherwise I'll need to clean some up real quick. My bad, I have not got any asbestos, and I haven't found one of these veins yet, so I'm going to need to go look for one. Well, that doesn't seem to have taken too long. Okay, so that turned out not to be too much of a detour. So we can now take our mica base pulp and pop it in the forming press on circuit 1 with some clean asbestos. Next, the mica base sheets need some silicon dioxide and an alloy smelter. Finally, these need to go through the bending machine on circuit 1, and that gives us our mica insulator foils. While that's cooking up, we need 16 ingots worth of molten tin. And now we can put everything together on circuit 3 in the assembly machine to make the coils. But we are a long way from done. We need an output bus and an input bus. We need an output hatch and an input hatch. We need 2 energy hatches, we need a muffler hatch and a maintenance hatch, and it's not on this list yet, but we also need 4 combustion generators. Alright, so I distilled up a bit of creosote to make some lubricant, and this should be our energy hatches. There we go. Excellent. Once in my life I remember to drop it and pick it back up again so I could get the trophy. Alright, so for anyone who hadn't guessed, this is where the electric blast furnace is going to go. I've made up space for 4 of them, all shared. But obviously we've just got the one at the moment. So let's have a think about where we want to put these hatches. Okay, so if we have an input bus here, and an input hatch here, and we can have an output bus here, output hatch here, 2 energy hatches. I guess these can go here for now. Yeah, that should do it. Let's grab our controller, that can go here. Coils. Oops, actually that needs to be the muffler hatch. Muffler needs to point up. And maintenance hatch. Alright, are you gonna form? Come on. It would appear not. What did I do wrong? Okay, it dawned on me eventually that the maintenance hatch can't go up top. And this should be formed. This is new. However, we can claim this handy tape, pop it on the hatch, and magically we have no more issues. So that should be fine now until the machine gets moved. Nice. Now we just have to power the thing. Okay, 4 combustion engines. Now then, each of these hatches takes 2 amps, so they need two generators, which means we do need a bit of wire, but a very short bit of wire, because they need 30 EU I think, so we can't really be having too much in the way of loss. And I think if I run a Jenny here, and a Jenny here, and a Jenny here, and a Jenny here, that should work. Alright, so I think I'm going to just pop a tank in line here, so I can keep an eye on its levels. So this should back up. Basically, if these start using more than this line is supplying, this tank will start emptying out. It'll buy us a little bit of time, and I'll get some visibility on it quite quickly, which is the point of having it there. Okay, I have this alumina and cryolite that I dug up from the Twilight Forest, and if we look at it at a ratio of 10 alumina to 5 cryolite, we get 4 aluminium. Okay, so I had to come back and do a little bit of maintenance here. This had run out of water, so I needed to fill it up, and our chlorine was full, so I've just popped a fluid trash can up there for now so this electrolyzer can keep running. Again, this setup is jank as fuck, but it is producing us fuel for now. So as you can see, I've put in some small potin pipe where we had the tiny bronze pipe. Unfortunately, the pipe swapping trick does not work when the pipes are not the same size, so I had to do all of this by hand. Okay, so that's that filled up. That gives us a nice baseline to look at. Now let's try cooking up some more aluminium. That's running. Let's see if this keeps up. It's certainly doing a better job than it was before. Alright, and that's our quest. Grab this one too while we're here. Okay, well, I think I'm going to need to wrap up the episode there. The next thing we need to do is start working on MV circuits, but there's quite a lot to do to get those up and running, so that will need to wait for the next episode. In the meantime, let's open some loot bags and see what happens. Absolute garbage. Okay, it's mostly garbage. These can be recycled for steel. Food's always good. So lighting meals are actually really good food. Okay then, see you next time.